Video I wanted to make at least this week, especially after how many people have been saying that card shows are dead, and I felt like I needed to at least talk about my viewpoint of it. Been going to card shows since I was pretty young. Don't know exactly when I went to my first card show, but I hit up the local card shows way back in the day with my dad, and went to mall shows and flea market shows, which you don't really see that much anymore. Most of the shows are in much nicer venues than where they started out at. And like the last 2 years, this year I'm on track again to hit 50 plus shows. Last year I hit 52 shows across the country, and I've gone to 25 states. So traveled half of America to go buy sports cards on a weekend. And I've documented a lot of the journey on my YouTube channel. On top of that, one day I want to go to a show in Canada, United Kingdom, some other European countries as well, Australia, and also Asia. So I really love card shows, and it's a passion of mine to buy sports cards on a weekend, which sounds weird. But I wanted to talk about like what's going on and why they are dead. And it really comes down to that there's too many card shows out there. So there's been a big discussion last year about with everyone starting a grading company and it'll get diluted. Well, the same thing is happening with card shows. Right now, both at the local and national level, there's just way too many for the population of people that actually collect sports cards. So let me give you an example in Florida. A few weekends ago, there was 6 or 7 shows that were going on across Florida. And don't remember exactly which ones that were going on that weekend, but let me kind of dive deep into the Florida card show scene and what could happen on a potential weekend. So Orlando has a card show that's once a month. Tampa has many card shows, and in fact, 2 card shows compete on the same weekend that are like 15 miles away, if that. It could easily be one card show, but they compete over there. Now, on I-95, you have at least 3 or 4 shows that you could literally hit just going up and down. There's shows all the way down towards Miami and West Palm Beach every single weekend. There's 2 or 3 always down there that compete. There's a show in Port St. Lucie. I think that's once a month, but there's also another show that's a little bit north of that. There's shows near St. Augustine, as well as a trade night up over there. And there's multiple shows in Jacksonville. So just on that side of alone, like between East Coast Florida and Central Florida, you could probably hit 5 or 6 card shows in a weekend, assuming that you had the time, literally just drove show to show, probably didn't walk around or anything like that, which it's kind of insane to me because it's all within like 2 or 3 hours of where I live. The fact that there's so many card shows, and we have that going on. The national level, we have multiple 300 table shows almost every single weekend, and it's getting to the point where it's not feasible. I know a lot of people that travel show to show every single weekend, and they have shows booked up all the way from September through end of November. No weeks off, by the way, which like even for myself, I'm almost traveling every single weekend right now with no weeks off, and it's tough, man. If you really want to hit up multiple 300 table shows on the weekend as well, good luck with travel because planes have been super delayed, but also it's exhausting. Last year, I think it was, I went to Dallas and also Atlanta on the same weekend before coming back home in Orlando. And it's tough, and those weren't even that far away. I mean, there's weekends where there's large shows in California, Colorado, and like New York, and I assume there's other shows too. I think Wisconsin had like a 150 table show, and so did Chicago, and probably a few others that I'm forgetting. But like from a national dealer perspective, or people that go around to buy stuff, you can really only hit up one card show. And when you have like 4 large card shows going on in the same weekend, it's just not feasible. Someone's going to choose one show. It's going to set their home base to either buy cards or set up as a dealer. And I think that's one of the big issues that we're having is just way too many card shows out there. The national level, I wish some of these show promoters work together and kind of figure out a schedule. Like, here's the big card shows for 2023. That way they don't overlap. Give people like a week or 2 off every once in a while so there isn't card show burnout. And that way the dealers can make more money. The shows can have more people in there. People that travel to the shows are going to spend more money on the floor most of the time. So I wish there was something on that side of things. And like locally in Florida, and I assume this is other states as well, but like in Florida, we really should have one large card show a month or every few months, and then still have a few local shows. Like some of these shows need to stop or merge to move on. Like it's a disservice for the hobby to have so many card shows in one weekend. Like you got to think about it from the eyes of the average collector. They're going to go to one show. They aren't going to go, oh, I'm going to go to a show in Tampa and also Orlando. And then if I have time, the next day I'm going to drive up to Jacksonville or St. Augustine and go to all these different places. On top of other events like trade nights that go on, it's impossible. Someone's going to go to one show. Other thing that's going on right now is I'm seeing a lot more shows that start on a Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday. And I think that's horrible. And the reason is, like, I see it from the eyes of just from dealers and people that are in the hobby full time, right? Okay, great. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is football, right? You're going to have maybe a little bit less people, and most of the people that are going to come in to make money are going to be those first 2 days. But we're forgetting the average collector. I mean, the average person is going to work a full-time job, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. They're going to have only the option on Saturday. And the last day of the show, a lot of dealers pack up early. They're going to have a negative experience at that card show. On top of that, right now with Saturdays, you're going to have local sports for your kids, which a lot of people will have kids that are in the hobby. And also you have college football. And there's a lot of diehard college football fans. I mean, if you like your team, you're going to go support them on that Saturday. You might leave the card show early, or you might say, I'm not going to go to a card show this weekend. Speaking of the casual collector, like I said earlier, they're probably going to go to 1, maybe 2 card shows in a month. They're not going to go to a card show every single weekend, and it's ridiculous for us to think that they're going to do that. We've been hurt by having too many card shows. We've spread ourselves too thin. We really need to close down some card shows or merge to save the card show side of things, and that way the dealers can make some money, so people walking around can make some money, and the casual collector has a great experience rather than an empty show. I also do want to bring up a little bit about the economy. Now, I'm not an expert on that side of things, but with multiple markets being down, people are going to be spending a lot less money on hobby or what other people consider an alternative asset. People need to put food on the table. Sports cards doesn't always do that. So people are going to be definitely spending a lot less money at card shows. I've seen it walking around in the past, when the card shows kind of exploded. I used to see people dropping $10,000, $20,000 on tables and just buying really, really expensive cards. Don't see that as often. You still do see it occasionally, but not to the extent of where I saw it both in the local shows I went to and also the national shows. So spending definitely has dried up a little bit, but that doesn't mean that there aren't deals at card shows or that people are buying a ton of inventory, because that does still happen. I think card shows are quite alive compared to where they were a few years ago. There's definitely been a dip on that side of things, and it's going to go down farther if we continue to expand out too many card shows. Really, we need to consolidate both on the national and local level. And yeah, you guys continue to watch the journey every single weekend. I'll try my best to document what I see at the shows and help you guys along the way.